will want to share that people that you'd be interested in sharing with a friend. So that's all about the engagement and things of this nature with social media, some stats to kind of show you some things that you may want to consider. Maybe you want to ask a question. Maybe you want to ask people their ideas. These are things you can do that will help your post be engaging. You can see a little photo here. If you could take your pup anywhere, where would you go? That's pretty cool. They didn't just post a picture up there and say, tell us about your dog, but they made it fun. And look at all the comments that it generated. So this is the benefit of Facebook that allows you to get this engagement with your fans and followers. Make it interesting, make it something they would like. Another interesting thing here about engagement, and you can use this example on Facebook, is Aura Brush. Aura Brush has a bad breath detector. Now, I personally don't need this because when I wake up in the morning, my breath smells like Listerine and mint automatically. It's a God-given natural thing that I have. Most of you, your breath stinks. So Aura Brush has a bad breath detector. Of course, it's a game. It's a gimmick. There's no real bad breath detector, but it's fun. This is the point, the kind of things you want to think about as you're working on building engagement with your audience. You can see here Old Spice. This is not me. There's a guy they put inside of a shower near 34th Street, Penn State, and we're almost right in the middle of Times Square, New York City. Again, building engagement. So you can see I got my free kind of tub of soap there with the Old Spice guy as he's standing in a shower getting wet in a suit. Highly engaging. Last point is being able to analyze what's happening on social media. Some of you may have seen the movie Moneyball with Brad Pitt. What was about? A crappy, scrappy team, had no money, had no players. Does that sound familiar? That sounds like us a lot of times, us small businesses. I'm scrappy. You know, I don't have a big budget for the things I do for small business technology, but guess what? How you can change the game is with your numbers, with your analytics. So when you're using Facebook in your business, you want to make sure you measure what happens on social media overall, and in particular on Facebook. That's how you can make sure that it's great for your business. So you want to make sure you measure the analytics of Facebook, and we're going to go over that, dive into that a bit more as we go on. So the second part of this presentation is the beginning here that I want to just give an overview of is the content marketing. Successful online marketing, ladies and gentlemen, is all about content. And I know you know that. John Lawson went over that. Jeff went over that. Brent's been talking about this for some time. And I know you know this, but I just want to remind you this is why we're doing it. Content feeds search engines, and the content feeds social networks. This is why we're talking about tonight. Facebook marketing is so important. Content rules the day with online marketing. Those who have great content, that's relevant content, are going to be king. We're going to be queen, whatever you want to be. Okay? So, moving on here, a few more tips. It's important to keep in mind that just content marketing alone and social media is not enough. I'm not one of these fanboys who tell you, oh, you got to be online, dude. You got to just Facebook your way to success. You got to tweet or you don't have a business. No. So this slide is really to tell you word of mouth is important. Online advertising is important. Offline advertising is important. Word of sales, marketing, customer service. These things, ladies and gentlemen, are important. So I'm not saying ignore these. In fact, I'm saying that just being online, it's not enough. You still have to do the tried and true social media 101 things that make businesses important. So let's dive into Facebook here, and I'm going to go over a few things that I find on Facebook that are important for all businesses to keep part of as they grow their business. So your timeline is important. You have the timeline there, and it's important to keep it engaging, keep it fresh, inject your personality. When people look at your Facebook profile page, your timeline should be active, should be exciting, should be something that's fresh that people want to see. Nobody likes to get stale bread, and nobody wants to have a stale timeline. Coca-Cola. So here's Coca-Cola doing something very interesting with their tabs. Look at what Coca-Cola has done. They're using their tabs. You can click on it and dive deeper into their into their Facebook page. And this is pretty cool. If you look really there, you'll see events they have, your stories, house rules, all kind of things they have. So the point in this slide is saying, if you really want to grow your Facebook page, it's time to not just leave your Facebook page as a default setting, but take the tabs and customize them and do more with them. That's what this point is all about here with the Facebook for Business. It's take your tabs and do more with them. Third thing here is apps are really, really important, I think, on Facebook. And you have tabs, but apps are pretty interesting. That's a app. We have a company called Grow Social, which is part of Infusionsoft, and there's many other great apps providers as well. Brent could probably list a few when we're done here. But the point is with apps is that it takes your Facebook page to another level. You'll see here an app I created with Grow Social. If you like the page, you give them your email address, you click a button, I'll sign you up to get a copy of my book in a giveaway. So normally small business owners, we can't create this by ourselves. But with these customized apps that you can create, this enables you to do exactly what the big boys can do. So this is why apps on Facebook are really important to help you extend what you normally couldn't do by yourself. Apps help you do that. Fourth thing I think we're at that's really important is Facebook Insights. Remember I talked to you about the analytics? Remember? Well, here we are. Using Facebook Insights or Facebook Analytics, you can post on Facebook, do everything you're doing on Facebook, but measure the success. I mean, you're there in downtown Atlanta, and you've been on Facebook. Wouldn't you want to know if college-age females in Austin, Texas are on your page or not? Wouldn't you want to know, why are these females from Austin, Texas on my Facebook page? Maybe you should create maybe you need to explore opening a retail store in Austin, Texas as well. So you get my point. The analytics give you intelligence and telling you what, now that you're on Facebook, now that you're doing things on Facebook, the analytics tell you what's happening. It's just like a restaurant owner making awesome, forget a restaurant owner, Atlanta Sweet Tea. And Brenda, if I'm saying this wrong, I'm sure at the end you'll correct me on this. I think it's called Sweet Tea. I love Sweet Tea. Is it called Sweet Tea, Brent?
That's it.
Okay, good. So Atlanta Sweet Tea. But I think down there y'all just say tea, you know it's sweet. Here we don't have that. But it's like a restaurateur making sweet tea and going and saying, how does it taste? You want to know how you're doing, so people don't like it, you can do it better. And this is what Insights is like on Facebook. So ladies and gentlemen, once you do what you're doing on Facebook, hopefully from this webinar today, things you're hearing about in other Atlanta Tribune series, and again, thanks to Atlanta Tribune for doing this. Once you do this, and I've spent a few more minutes telling you about this because it's important, you have to measure what you're doing. If you're not measuring what you're doing, stop doing it. It makes no sense to do it. Okay? Moving on here. And these are just a few pages, I think, from my own Small Biz Technology page, and you can see here just a description of what the analytics look like. Who are the females? Who are the males? Where are people coming from? What have they clicked on? You can see here my language. Most of the people on my page are going there in English. Most of them, thousands. So that means maybe I don't have to create a page in French, but what if I had most of my people who are French-speaking people? I may want to consider having a small biz technology for the French. Bonjour, comment ça va? You get my point. And you need to do the same thing for your business to find out who's there to know how you should change it or not change it. This slide here is just really talking about what are some things measured on Facebook. I'm not going to spend more time on it, but it's important that you dive in. You can get my book. You can go on Facebook.com and search for it, but to know some of the terms that people talk about when they're dealing with Facebook for business. Okay? And I just said, if you can't measure it, probably shouldn't do it. Moving along here, advertising on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen, is very important. And I'm not going to dive today too much in the technical aspects of advertising on Facebook because that, I must say, is pretty simple. You just go on Facebook, click, 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 and you're pretty much done. If you look all the way to the bottom of your page, you can get the advertising information to advertise on Facebook, or I think facebook.com/advertising, I think it is, or just Google it. But some things are important to understand. There's sponsored stories or posts, which is a story or a post that you've created as usual that you pay Facebook money to amplify. And this is pretty cool. Or you could buy advertising on Facebook and say, hey, Facebook, I'm having a shoe on sale. You can pay for an ad to advertise that shoe sale, which goes to your website. If you want to reach new customers, that's one way to do it. Or if you want to deepen relationships with the customers who you already have. These are some of the ways that reasons you want to advertise on Facebook, and try it. Think about it. If you're advertising on Facebook, and you haven't identified your goals, why you're doing it. Is it to get leads? Is it to get customers? Is it to get sales? It's important to identify your goals. It's important to define your target customer. Maybe you have a product to advertise to black guys who are wearing glasses with shaved heads. Well, that's me and Brent. Maybe you have a product that's for college-age guys who like to drink I don't know, who like to drink Coca-Cola. That's one demographic. But I think you get the point with my silly example. The point is to identify who your target customer is. And then you want to create the ad accordingly for how it is. And the last point, let's all say it together. 1, 2, 3. Test and refine. Test and refine. Test and refine. You won't get it right the first time. Even Chef Ramsay, what does he do? He takes a spoon and he dips it in and he tastes and tastes and tastes. So it's a very simple concept. Taste and make sure you get test rather and make sure you get it right. Moving along here. Some quick tips regarding Facebook advertising. Stop selling. Identify your target market. Nurture the relationship. Build trust. Use Facebook to find your ideal prospect. This is where the engagement comes in. Just posting, doing fun things, and seeing who clicks, seeing what happens. Then you can spend money in that Super Bowl commercial or some advertisement on television to do more because you tested it cheap on Facebook. So there's an article I wrote on small biz technology. You can look at the URL there. Let's see here. I think I messed up my page there. Let's bring that back. Yeah, you can look at the URL there, and it's bit.ly/petflowfacebook, I think it is. And you can check that out. And that's an article I wrote, which kind of is an interview with the guys from petflow.com, where Alex is telling us how, Ramon, I don't place ads on Facebook. I spend money and my time on engagement. I just want to identify who the dog owners are. Once I identify who the dog owners are through my fun, through engagement, then I can sell to them because they're already on my page and it's much cheaper. It's a pretty deep concept. I won't go over it all now. Brent, I'm sure we'll talk about it maybe later on, another webinar as it were, but you can check out that article, and I think it's something you'll find quite interesting. Moving along here. Images are very, very important. I mean, listen, people like images. What do you think television's all about? It's all about imagery, billboard advertising. So the point here is that as you're posting, look for engaging images. Don't forget your audience, though. If your audience is warm and fuzzy, warm and fuzzy. If your audience is hip and young, hip and young. If your audience is someone like myself, well, I can't help you. I don't know what to tell you to do. Just do something fun. But the point is, use images. And that's a short one, but it's really important. And you may want to invest in getting rid of this cartoonish looking, silly looking images that you steal off of Google. Maybe you want to invest in an illustrator or a photographer to help build an image library that you can use in your business. So you can see here all kind of things here that we're looking at. Dallas Foodie, look at the images there. Tampa Rejuvenation, yes, and etc. So my point is, images are powerful. Okay, that's the point. And these are some tips here. You can look at that a bit later on. But the point is that the cover photo on Facebook has certain dimensions and things of this nature, which you really want to dive into to make sure you get it done right. A few more small tips to remember. Complete the About section of your Facebook page. You can highlight or pin the best posts. Why do you want to do that? So the best posts stay at the top of your timeline. When people go to it, they can see that first, and it's not pushed down. Milestones. So these are just some tips and things, ladies and gentlemen, that you can go back to. I hope you're writing notes. You can go back to, and you can just Google these things. It's funny that I say Google something to check out on Facebook. But anyways, you can Google these things and find out how to do it more. But these on this page are small little things that you may think are insignificant, but there's a lot of people that don't fill out the About section of their Facebook page. You know what that's like, in my opinion? That's like going to a home whose living room has no furniture. It looks a bit silly. So there's that tip for you there. Moving on here. This is one of the best, kind of the secret tips that I'm most proud of. I got this tip from, I think it was Amy Porterfield. I think her name is Brent. She's like some big-time Facebook person. She was speaking at an event. I got this tip from her. But you may not have known that you have a list of customers or prospects. Did you know that you can go on Facebook, upload that list to Facebook, and just market to those people? I'm going to say it again. You can upload a list to Facebook and just market to those people. That's pretty darn cool. Why? And you already have people who you've met at an event who know, like, and trust you, whatever the case may be. Why not spend your money advertising and marketing to people who already know you? They have a higher propensity to buy. So again, I'm not going to dive into that much more, but I think that's an interesting tip that all of you may want to consider for those of you who have customer lists.
Hey, Ramon, let me jump in real quick and say all the folks who read the Tribune will know about that tip, because in the latest edition of the Tribune, I actually got that same tip, but I got it from Mari Smith when I talked to her. And so that was one of the things that she shared with me, is a couple of ways to not only build a list, but enhance the list with more information that Facebook may provide on folks you already know.
No, absolutely. And so I hope everybody in this call is reading the Atlanta Tribune. If you haven't, you can just say shame on you and subscribe. Thank you, Brent. Absolutely. So Mari Smith, at Mari Smith, these are just gurus of ladies who know about Facebook inside and out. So that's that. Thank you, Brent. So moving on here, our next topic is going to be Facebook for Business, talking about plugins, Brent. Plugins, I think, are pretty interesting. And what I like about plugins, ladies and gentlemen, is that plugins extend Facebook off of Facebook to your website. And that's pretty cool. So you have a website, mine is smallbusinesstechnology.com, CRM Essentials, Atlanta Tribune. We all go to the website, we look at the great content there, but maybe the Atlanta Tribune also wants to use Facebook, and they do. They can extend the awesome engagement and social interaction of Facebook, put it on the Atlanta Tribune's website, and have that same engagement, but they can keep traffic on their website still using Facebook. So that's what this kind of little overview is about here. I'll go through it quickly here. So there's, Amy Porterfield. That's her there. For example, you can see, all of you have seen this, the like button on your website or on your blog. People can like it and send that information to their friends on Facebook, but they still stay on your website. So, and again, if you don't know how to do this, you can do this yourself. The link's there, developers.facebook.com/doc/plugins, or you can just search for it, or I'm sure Atlanta Tribune's covered it as well in one of their editions. So that's the like button there, and you can add that to your website. If you don't have it, you should do it. So that's point one. Another cool plugin is the send button. And the send button basically enables you to kind of send the information on the website or page you're on to your Facebook audience. So it sounds very small. It's kind of like a bigger version of the like button as I see it. But again, Brent, appreciate your comments on these things too. But it's another kind of feather in your cap to add interaction, to kind of capture and utilize Facebook, but it stays on your website.
Totally
Going
agree. That's
What's that,
part
Brent?
of the deal, is kind of using Facebook to engage and build a place where you can build deeper relationships, and that's your website, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, you know what? I like how you said it. That's what it's about, building deeper relationships. All of us have a relationship one way or another, but the deeper we can go, the better it is for sure. So comments are very important. We all like people to comment now and then. And so this is just another plugin that you can use, that if you have a blog post you wrote or something interesting you wrote about sweet tea, hint, hint, shrimp and grits, hint, hint, and you want people to comment on that, well, you can use Facebook to enable commenting on your website, and people on Facebook can see interaction, but you also have this engine that you can use to keep the traffic on your website as well. Moving on here, some other plugins, activity feed. You can see what CNN has done. There's an activity feed on the right side of CNN or other pages, and you can see activity, what friends are doing, and et cetera, related to this page, but again, you're staying on the main page. So that's an issue there. I have some of the most gruesome images, and update this. Well,
yeah.
Sorry.
You're going to have to work on that next time, man.
Yeah, I definitely have to do that. Let's move on quick. Recommendations, it's kind of similar to the send button, but again, you know, if people are on your website, they want to recommend you to someone else, let them do that. And you don't have to be a programmer like 10, 15, 20 years ago when I was doing blogging, as it were, front page. I mean, no, Brent knows that. You know, it's a whole new world now where these things are such, make it simple and easy for you to do, to add functionality and interactivity on your website. Okay. So just to summarize this section, we talked about free, frequent, relevant, engaged. Make sure you analyze what you're doing. We talked about social content marketing, that it's important to know the importance of leveraging content on your website. We talked about the aspect of it's cheaper to capture interest than to try to sell to people first. And once people become a prospect of yours, it's cheaper to engage them at that point because they already know, like, and trust you. Brent, you told people what the special project you're doing regarding the retailer here. Is that right? Is cat's out of the bag on that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So Brent's coming out with some point very soon, a book on Amazon.com, which I think is pretty cool on that. And one thing that I brought up this page for is because I'm going to go back to diving into, just briefly, an overview of, it only takes 2 seconds, but it's really kind of how I see Amazon as one of the best examples of how they use social media in about the 10 minutes I have here. Before I get to that, stealing a book from Infusionsoft, one thing we like to teach is I think it always has to be layered on top of social media. Social media alone won't work, but we've talked about attracting traffic here using social media. But don't forget the other parts that I think are important to a proper online marketing strategy. Make sure you have a way to capture leads. Make sure you're nurturing your prospects. Make sure you're converting to sales. Remember what I said earlier. You have to still have good customer service, upselling your customers and getting referrals. So I just like to add that, Brent, because I think that so many times businesses focus on just social media, just let me go on Facebook, but they forget the other half of the equation. Now that people have liked you on Facebook, how do you get them to make a sale? And I think these points here are very important in that. So that's what this slide is about.
Totally agree.
So real quick here, Brent, just diving into, I moved recently to another place in New Jersey, and I was amazed, Brent, how interesting it was that Amazon is all over me. You can see at the top in May here, they're telling me what I already purchased. Look at the conversion to sales, Brent. Add to cart. They make it so easy to do. Look at the upsell here. Customers who bought this also bought that. So this just reinforces, Brent, it's kind of not directly on Facebook, but I'll get back to Facebook in a minute. But it's just really in my soul to let people know, guys, after you built your audience on Facebook, after you've done all this, and I know John knows all this, like crazy, don't forget about the other half. So that's all this is talking about. Do Facebook, do social media, ladies and gentlemen, but you also don't want to forget about how you can maximize these things on your website, on your blog, on your business cards. Don't forget about that kind of business 101 stuff, advertising in the Atlanta Tribune even, doing radio ads. Don't forget about the other half of building traffic and converting to sales. So that's pretty much, Brent, all I had to say for that one. I'll bring it back to the title slide here maybe if you like, so people can see something more interesting. But that's all I have for now, Brent. If you have questions or I can recap or say more, but thank you, and I look forward to hearing questions or chatting about with you this a bit more. So I'll turn the microphone back over to you.
Well, now this is great, man. I really appreciate it. We actually do have a question. We got one even before we got started. We had a question, and I shared it with you, but I want to read it for everybody. And this question comes from Sharon Bynum, who I think is logged in. First of all, Sharon, thank you for joining us, and thank you for the question. So, Ramon, the question that Sharon had was, how can I use Facebook for private group meetings, conversation, and interaction, kind of like an online support group? What would be the maximum number that could participate in a group at one time? How long can you keep private groups running? Now, that's a lot, but do you get the gist of what she's asking?
No, absolutely. I'm calling 1-900 Mari Smith right now, and I'm going to tie her in. I'm just teasing. Yes, great question, Sharon. Thank you very much. So two things. One, for those who just to repeat it again, I'm going to answer the question, what's the difference between Facebook pages and groups? Pages, as I see it, are for when you're trying to build brand awareness, when you want to brand your page or a celebrity or an item like that. That's what Facebook pages are for, and that's really what businesses, I dare say, should really focus on and use. It's just better. You can administer it better and reach people better overall, in my opinion, Brent. I think Facebook groups are great. I think it's more of a personal nature, or if you have a business and you want to have a discussion amongst your employees or a private discussion with your customers. That's what Facebook groups are for. The ceiling on groups, as I understand it, Brent, is about 5,000 as I last checked, so it's a pretty high number. Definitely things you do there are more reflected on you personally. The advantage of pages, Brent, is that your group, what your group does, somebody kind of goes off wall, it's not affected, tied to you so much personally. On pages, with groups it is. So the big difference, Brent, groups, I'd steer people a bit more personal, a bit more definitely private discussion between friends or between colleagues or something, whereas the pages is something for businesses building that big brand, and they want the whole world to join and know about it. That's my take on it.
Oh, no, that was very, very helpful. One of the things that I think people are still trying to figure out is, do they try to go for a sale directly on Facebook, or do you think the best way right now to use Facebook from a marketing or a small business perspective is from a list building kind of tool to help you not just build a list, but even get a little bit more understanding of who the person is before trying to engage them?
Yeah, no, it's an awesome question. I think, Brent, my knee-jerk reaction is list building. However, I must say it. If you're one of those, Best Bad and Beyond competitors, you have an awesome and a strong, Brent, social media following on Facebook. You got thousands of likes and things like this. People are engaged. It may be time, Brent, for the folks listening to test the waters of selling directly through Facebook, and there's a number of tools that they can do that. Intuit has some, and I'm sure others. Shopify maybe, and others that I'm sure you've talked about and write about already. Having said that, for the average small business owner that is just testing the waters, my knee-jerk reaction is I would say just build a list. Get people to know, like, and trust you. Throw up some videos. Do a fun post. Do a poll. Do a contest. Do not worry about the sale. And I say that. Be patient, ladies and gentlemen. The sale will come. I mean, guys, think how long it took for you to get that woman who you're married to. It probably took you a long time. Maybe not, but you get my point. Ladies, the guys you're with, you get the principle I'm trying to make. So on Facebook, Brent, I'd say really take your time, build leads, unless there's a specific reason that you think you can make that hard sale on Facebook.
I think that's a lot of people go for the hard sale, and that kind of leads to the next question. How much do you use it for promotion versus how much do you use it for actual engagement? A lot of people are pushing and using it just to push out content, but what's the proper mix of promotion versus engagement?
Yeah, it's a good question. And again, these are questions I know are burning on people's minds. And Brent, I hate to tell people, I'm sure you would say it too, is I hate to just say try it and test it. But in a way, you really have to, ladies and gentlemen. But these are great questions. And my advice, my guidance, because I know we're here with the Atlanta Tribune, I'm here to help people, Brent. So my advice, I'd say, you know what? I'd test it, but I'd say use Facebook. I'd go with the engagement part. You use Facebook to engage. Use Facebook to, and what are the two? Again, the two options, Brent, are engagement and?
It's promotion versus engagement.
Right, promotion. So, Brent, I'd go with the engagement always first, because I'm a firm believer, once you smile at people, get them to shake your hand and they like you, they will buy. So excuse me, Brent, I retract this. What I mean to say is engagement first, excuse me, not promotion. Right. I would say engage first. I apologize, engage. And what I mean by that is, so I'd go with the cute photos, go with getting people to like you, trust you. People, what's Mary of Mary's Soup in downtown Atlanta? Interesting. She has a picture of her, a little video of her making the soup and tasting it. That's pretty cool. I'm not ready to buy yet, but you know what? I like this. I'd go with that first. Engage. Build up your audience. But you know what I would do then? I would start testing a little bit promotion and do your analytics. So you may want to say something like, hungry today? Which soup would you use? For example, anybody who has a soup, I'm making it up. You may want to do a Facebook promoted post, promote that post, and see how you get. Between those are just simply engaging, and then measure that between what the promotion got. See what your traction is. Over time, you will figure it out and get it right, and I bet, Brent, I'm betting here that you're going to see people are going to want to do both. They're going to want to engage, put a nice video or photo up, ask questions, do polls, but maybe once a week, once a day, depending on the traffic, you may want to spend $100 and promote that post to try to draw more engagement with it and go from there.
Very cool. Now, I got to ask you, we're talking about, you really touched on Facebook advertising. Can you compare it, contrast it, maybe at a high level, to Facebook advertising compared to what you do, what people are doing with Google AdWords? Is it a lot different, or there's some similarities, or just at a high level, what are some of the things that people should know about it in comparison to Google?
Absolutely. Overall, the mechanics of it are very similar. I believe there's a few details that you can't get on Google. I could be wrong, like gender and things like that. I could be wrong, but I think that those are big differences. I'll dive into in a minute. But overall, it's similar. The mechanics. You're advertising through a certain profile of what people are doing. Second point, Google overall, just at a very overall, and I could be off on some of these points, feel free to correct me, Brent, is that Google, it's really the keyword game. What are the keywords people are searching for? That's the big game you're trying to do on Google, which is great. On Facebook, it's really about who that person is. Are they a female? Are they a male? Are they in Atlanta? Are they not? Do they work here? Do they not? That's the big thing that Facebook has. Going beyond that, the third level, Brent, I would say, is that Google is for people who want something right now. I'm looking to eat lunch, and I'm going to go to Google and search for it, not Facebook today. Facebook, I'm going to chat and talk about the lunch I had. So that's, I think, how you kind of, in my world, differentiate that. So it's a great question. And again, I say, measure it, test it. If you have a product to sell, you may want to consider Google advertising. But if you have a product that you want people to rally around, you want to build up that local community in Atlanta or otherwise, that's where I think Facebook comes to play, how I see the world.
We have a question from Michelle Marshall. Michelle, thank you for joining us and for the question. Michelle wants to know if there is a way to have people like your business, quote-unquote like your business page, by sending them a suggestion to do so. It seems that was an option before, even without paying for advertising.
It is an option now that, as I understand it, because I get a lot of people saying, Ramon, can you like my page through Facebook? As I understand it, it is still a free option to get people to suggest to your friends to like the page. So the answer is yes. And I would tell people not to ignore other methods of doing that. And I think, Brent, just since I don't know, I'm sure you receive it too, I get a lot of people saying, Jane Doe suggested you like her page. That's nice, and that's cool, and you can do that. But, guys, don't forget about the other ways, too. In your email newsletter, put it there. Tweet it out. Put it in the back of your card at events. So don't be myopic and put your head in the sand like an ostrich and think about other ways that you can take Facebook, market off Facebook to Facebook. But the answer to the question, and thank you for the question, is yes. You can do that. You can push your page and ask people to like it, friends of friends. But guess what? You can also spend a little bit of money and pay to have people like that page too.
Very cool. We got a question. Oh, this is an important question, but because it's coming from the editor-in-chief of the Tribune, Ms. Catrus Stein, so you got to get this one right, man. So Catrus is asking, is it still a free option to suggest people? Oh, all right. She's just repeating the question that all right. Thank you, Catrus. That's very nice of you. She is just putting it out on Facebook so people can see the question. Okay.
And Brent, I didn't know the editor-in-chief of Atlanta Tribune was on the air. Was with us. So I gotta like straighten my tie and pull my shirt a little neater. I'm gonna just give me a second. Okay, I'm good now.
You good now? All right, good. Now let me ask you. This is another question from Sharon. Being new to Facebook, how do you learn more about effective use of Facebook? I'm going to tell Sharon right now. One of the first things you should do, and I'm not saying this because he's my buddy and all that, but get Ramon's book. It's Facebook. It's a small business guide to Facebook marketing. So if you're really interested at Facebook from a business perspective, that's a great place to start. So with that said, Ramon, are there other places you might want to point Sharon to?
No, there's no other place in the world, Brent. My book is the only place that I know. Thank you, Brent, for that. Sharon, great question. A few things I would suggest. One, definitely digest the name that Mari Smith that Brent told you. She's a guru and goes really deep into all kind of nitty-gritties on Facebook. That's one. Point two, Amy Porterfield, another nice young lady who knows all about Facebook. That's point two. Point three, Facebook's website. Sharon, it has a boatload of free information you can get about everything you'd want to know about Facebook. And that's probably one of the best even. I like my book, but even before you dive into my book, check out Facebook. A lot of great places. So those are the three things I would say, Sharon. And the fourth thing I would say, Sharon and everybody listening, it's okay to test, experiment. You can do a promoted post. I think it's for $5. I could be wrong. Or it could be $25. But it's not a lot of money just to test it. So that's my message is check out Facebook's help. Really good place. Amy Porterfield, Mari Smith, you can look them up. My book, thank you very much, Brent. My book, check it out. And also experimentation. And, of course, Atlanta Tribune covers this stuff, through their pages and things of that nature. So there's probably other resources. But and don't forget also, the other thing that I would say, Brent, is that you can do it yourself, ladies and gentlemen, which is fine. I suggest you do it, especially for very small businesses. But if you need help, don't be afraid to ask a consultant. And you can't ask me or Brent to consult for you, so I'm not trying to get money for myself. But check out Elance or other sources like that that may be able to provide systems for you to do that. Grow Social as well has a great platform to do things on Facebook.
Okay. Now, so the editor-in-chief of the Tribune does have a question. I misread what she was saying. So her question is actually kind of a two-parter. She is asking, is it effective to suggest people like your business page? Is it effective?
Yeah, so I'm going to straighten my tie. Let me get it right. So yes, I believe it is effective to suggest people like your page. I would question, though, and say make sure one does not get stuck, that there are other things that could even be more effective. That's what I would say, as we talked about already today, such as, paying for promoted posts to post something and get other people to see it, such as testing advertising, such as doing things off of Facebook. So yes, if you can suggest people like your page, especially if they're targeted, then the answer is absolutely yes.
Okay, now the other thing she was asking, how do you get people not just to, I guess, the liking, but to actually engaging? What are some methods or maybe some tactics that allow you to get beyond kind of the initial like me thing? Because I think you mentioned it. People have asked me to like their page, and I'll like it, but I won't really do anything other than like it.
Right.
How do you get beyond even that kind of level of engagement?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's a lot of ways to do it, but I'll tell you one thing I've done, my secret, not a secret really, and one involves Brent, and one involves another young lady who I know, Lena West. And this is a case in point. So I was trying to get some visibility for a young friend of mine who's going through some struggles. I'll leave it at that. And I, connected on Facebook with people I know, one include Brent. Brent saw it, was kind enough to tell his tribe, his audience, about what I wrote, and it kind of went viral. So my point is that I say if you have a page, don't do your own network, yes. But there are people who you can say, listen, I have a new page up, the local bakery shop in Atlanta, let's say. I bet there's people who maybe the competing bakery shop or the other people in business. Let them know about your page. They will write about your page and tell their network that's not even connected to you. That's how it spreads. John Janton says it best: know, like, and trust. And I can't say this enough. Another thing, the example, I wrote a post about something a few weeks ago. Lena West got it. She was interested. She blasted that post on her Facebook page and brought me a whole other network of people who are writing about it on my Facebook page. So, Brent, you can probably say this simpler than I can. Brent and I work together, and sometimes he translates for me things I say. What I'm trying to say is let other people know about what you're doing. Beyond just saying, like my page, but adding people, at Brent Leary, at, your people who you know, like, and trust, bring them into the conversation. That's what I'm trying to say in a long way.
Yeah, but I'll add to that, and I think you're totally right, and I know you're right because I know some of the impact it's had. But I think the other way that you can leverage Facebook is to use it as a listening tool, to understand, like you said, you could use that Power Editor, you can use some of the other Facebook tools to have a better understanding of the audience and understand what's important to them, and then you can use Facebook to feed information that will allow them to understand that you are listening, you understand what's important to them, and you are helping them. And if you can use these tools to show that you are paying attention, you're listening, and you're not just engaging to say, hey, look at me, but, hey, I understand this may help you, then you have a much more better chance to transition them from a casual social person into a deeper, hopefully more customer relationship focused kind of engagement with them. So I think, and Mari Smith also talked about this 80-20 rule where she leverages Facebook to share, as she calls it, OPC, other people's content, 80% of the time. And then that other 20%, or if you say 4 out of 5, that fifth time, it's going for her activity. She's having a webinar. She wants you to sign up to her email list or whatever. But she uses that formula so it doesn't look like you're constantly pushing out information.
Right.
But you're actually engaging and using that last fifth to go for, that action. And I think that's really smart because people can look at your timeline. It's pretty easy to see somebody who is just nothing but talking about themselves over and over and over again. And when you look at it and people look at it, they can pretty much tell what kind of person you are and what kind of business person you are. And if you are one of those, you probably are not helping your efforts to build real engagement with folks.
No, you're 100% right. I mean, you never go far in business by just talking about yourself. Brent, I wanted to, if I may, do a giveaway. May I do that real quick? You can say no.
Please, absolutely.
I assume you can guide me in this, and I know time is short, but I'd love to just give 3 books away. If people can go to Atlanta Tribune's Facebook page, and you can tell me if this is an okay way to do it, but maybe they can go to their Facebook page on Atlanta Tribune, and just say hi, say maybe why they need Facebook or what help they need, and I'll just pick 3 people and send them 3 copies of my book on behalf of you and Atlanta Tribune. But you have to go and do it on the Atlanta Tribune Facebook page, the one for this event. They can at me or at you, and we'll figure out how to get them the book. How about that?
That's awesome. So let me tell folks, if you go to Facebook.com, or if you just go to your Facebook page and go up to search and search on Technology for Business Sake, or just go to Facebook.com/Technology for Business Sake, all one word, and leave it there. That way I know Ramon will see it because he's a member. He liked the page. I know that. So we'll look, and that's just awesome. So there's a possibility for 3 people to get this book. So that, Ramon, thank you so much because that's great. That's just something that I think everybody has. I've read the book. It's a great way to learn. And I was going to ask one quick question. Do you have any idea, any ballpark idea of how effective these sponsored posts are in terms of some kind of click-through or conversion rates? Have you seen anything around that?
I have. I mean, unfortunately, I haven't measured it as well as I should. But even in my own example, Brent, this gentleman who I'm trying to help out, Joshua, I did a sponsored post for him yesterday. It reached about 15,000 people. It cost me $100 or less. Now, did we do all the action happen that I wanted? No. But again, going back to the engagement, going back to the measurement, to answer the question, Brent, I know time is short. Yes, it works, but you have to measure it, Brent, to make sure you know how to tweak it for the next time. So it does work. Yes.
Very good. Now, this has been great. Ramon, is there any last tidbits of information or any other sites that you'd like for folks to be aware of before we sign off for tonight?
Not really, but I really appreciate the time, and Atlanta Tribune has been great. Thank you for your time, and I'm just happy to help small businesses. But Facebook.com, ladies and gentlemen, go to the help section. You'll find all the free help you need for sure. But I just say go out and do it and test. Don't be discouraged.
We got one question, and since we got a little bit of time, I'm going to ask this from James Warren. Thank you, James, for sticking out there with us. James asks, would you recommend posting blogs on your Facebook page? Also, how would you recommend tying your Facebook activity to YouTube?
That's a great question. So a few things. One, speaking quickly, unless we can go over a bit, but speaking quickly, I'm a firm believer, just in general, in having a foundation as a general website and or blog. A website, a blog connected to blogs are critical for a number of reasons, search engine traffic and et cetera, but a blog staying by itself that you're blogging to. Then you take your blog content and you post it to Facebook. Now, there's pros and cons. Should you do that? Does it dilute the audience? Those are a whole other cup of tea y'all can talk to Brent about later. But post that then to Facebook. Intersplice that with Facebook-only content. That's point 3. And then there was another part of the question, Brent?
Oh, yeah, hold on. The second part was how do you use YouTube and Facebook together?
Yeah, and so that's a great question. Now, what I do, and I've started to do this, I put my videos on YouTube. I embed them on smallbiztechnology.com. Why pay for the hosting if YouTube can host it? Thank you, YouTube. Embed them on smallbiztechnology.com. Then I often take the video, Brent, and post that separately to Facebook, so I have even more content, and then I can link to it on my blog or YouTube. So the point is, Brent, for now, I separate them because Facebook and YouTube are so big and different, but I take the video, post it on Facebook so I can build my Facebook audience of followers who like me there. That's the bottom line, what I'm trying to say.
No, you said it very well. I totally agree. And like you said, YouTube is allowing you to host huge videos now. I mean,
right.
You can host stuff that's mega gigabytes, and you don't have to worry about paying for storage or bandwidth. So take advantage of it, because there's a lot of people that are out there already on YouTube searching. It's the second most used search engine. So put your YouTube videos out and then spread them all over, including Facebook. That makes a ton of sense. So Ramon, people can follow you on Twitter with @RamonRay.
Yep.
They can follow you on Facebook with facebook.com/RamonRay.
Yep, or Small Biz Technology, either one. Thank you.
And, of course, they can check out the awesome smallbiztechnology.com site as well.
I appreciate it. Absolutely. Thank you.
Folks, this has been recorded, although I think we might have a little bit of a technology glitch at the beginning, but we got about at least the last 50 minutes. So there's a lot of information. I will be shooting out a survey to get your feedback on tonight's event, and by filling out that survey, you will get the keys to the slide presentation and also to get the recording. You will be amongst the first who get it. So once you get my email, please fill out the survey, because we definitely use that information to try to bring you the kind of content that you're looking for to help you grow your small business. So with that, the next webinar in the TNT series will be on September the 10th. Remember, it's always the second Tuesday evening of every month. So the next one will be September the 10th. You're going to have to wait till you get my email before you know what that next one is. It's going to be good, though. But I thank you once again for joining us this evening, and please stay tuned for the email. But have a great night, and thanks once again for joining us.